honored wise ones, within the endless current of cosmic time, there are years that pass quietly, like drifting clouds, leaving no trace behind. Yet, there are also years that resound like a great bell of destiny, when heaven and earth seem to tremble together. The year 2025 is such a year, one heralded by sages as the Great Purification, a year said to come only once in 1,000. This year is not merely a marker of time, it is a sacred threshold of the universe, a hidden gate opening for those with awakened hearts to realign themselves amid the shifting tides of human destiny. Why this year? Why only once in 1,000? And what truly is this Great Purification? Is it a vague spiritual notion, or a real and precise process hidden in the grand body of heaven and earth? That is what we must now uncover. Throughout history, humanity has walked through countless years, years of war, years of peace, years of confusion and collapse. Yet, among them, there exists a rare kind of year, so rare that it appears perhaps once in a millennium. It is the year of ending and beginning, when the frequencies of the universe shift to a new octave. It is the time when old orders shatter and new patterns emerge from the fragments. This, the ancients called the Great Purification. Purification does not mean destruction. It is not an ending, but a cleansing. It is the washing away of what has become stale, toxic, and outdated, so that new life may sprout, just as tender buds rise after the first spring rain. Like the earth after a long winter, needing a fierce wind to sweep away the dead leaves and a deep rain to wash the moss from its stones, so too does the human spirit require renewal. 1,000 years cannot pass without such a cleansing storm. But what is so extraordinary about the year 2025 that caused the ancients to call it the year of 1,000-year purification? First, it is a year of rare mathematical harmony. 2025 is the result of 45 multiplied by 45. It is one of the very few years that is both a perfect square and the exact sum of the cubes of the numbers from 1 to 9. When the ancients added from 1 to 9, they reached a total of 45. Then, multiplying 45 by itself yields 2025. Such a pattern cannot be dismissed as coincidence. In Eastern mysticism, the number 9 represents the peak of yang energy, the symbol of completeness, the final step before returning to the origin. The sum from 1 to 9 reflects the full journey of a soul through 9 stages of human experience before returning to the state of awakened wholeness. Thus, a year infused with the essence of 9 signifies a year of culmination, a year of reckoning, when all actions, thoughts, and intentions are brought to light, no matter how subtle. In ancient philosophy, it is said the universe follows the law of reversal. When yin reaches its height, yang rises. When darkness deepens, dawn is near. After long accumulation, there must come a moment of release, when a powerful wind stirs, or a great movement reshapes the pattern. 2025 marks that precise turning point when the old gives way to the new. In this transformation, none are exempt, neither sages nor ordinary souls. The evidence is before our eyes. The climate grows chaotic, the earth trembles and splits, drought and flood intertwine, and the skies cry out. Great floods rise where deserts once lay barren, and old diseases return in new forms. Human hearts grow weary, minds wander lost amid the digital maze, and faith in truth crumbles. If these are not the signs of purification, then what else could they be? Each time heaven and earth shift, all living beings must feel the echo within. The human body is but a small universe. When the greater cosmos trembles, the inner world cannot remain still. Those who live unconsciously will feel lost and anxious, while those who live with awareness will recognize this as a sacred time, to return to the true path, to purify both body and spirit, to release the burdens long carried through lifetimes of neglect. If the year 2025 were a great storm, then it is not one of destruction, but of renewal, a rain meant to cleanse, not to drown. As an old healer once said, a long illness sometimes requires a high fever, for only through heat can the body expel the deep poisons within. Likewise, the fever of this great purification is the universe's way of helping every soul shed its spiritual toxins and renew its destiny. As written in the Tao Te Ching, when things reach their extreme, they return. Strength taken too far breaks, prosperity at its peak declines. This is the eternal law of heaven, one no being can defy. 2025 marks that threshold, the point where what has gone too far must turn back, where what has become too heavy must be released. No external force compels this. It is the heart itself that feels the great turning, that knows something vast is unfolding. The wise quietly adjust themselves. The awakened cleanse their hearts in silence. No need for noise or show, only a calm return to one's essence, as the water returns to the sea, as the wind finds its way home. So how should one face this great purification without being swept into chaos? The ancients taught, when the storm rises, the tall, rigid tree breaks, while the flexible reed survives. This is the way of humility, the art of spiritual resilience in times of change. Do not resist the cleansing. Do not fight the transformation. Flow with it, as the mountain stands firm, yet the river bends in grace. Only in this way can one pass through the purification unscathed. Some may still ask, how can we be certain that 2025 is indeed the year of the Great Purification? Is it not mere superstition? Those who walk the path of truth do not rely on blind belief, yet neither do they ignore the signs written across the heavens. A year that is both a perfect square and the sum of 9 sacred cubes, a year with 2 springs and a leap month extending the calendar to 384 days. This is no coincidence. It is cosmic design. In such moments, the ancients would quietly retreat inward, purifying the heart, stilling the mind, speaking little, yet transforming greatly within. For when the gates of the universe open, those who stand in alignment are lifted higher, while those who resist are swept away. The Great Purification is not a curse, but a blessing in disguise. The call of heaven for humankind to awaken, renew, and return to harmony once more. The Great Purification is like the ocean's tide receding. Only when the waters withdraw can the hidden depths be revealed. When purification begins, the true state of every heart is laid bare. Those who live in pretense will tremble. Those who are genuine will feel light as air. The attached will be dragged away by the current, while the detached will float freely. Thus, in this once-in-a-thousand-year turning, the most precious treasure is not wealth or fame. It is awakening. It is the ability to turn inward, to see oneself clearly, to illuminate the original mind, to dare to release all that no longer aligns with one's essence, to stand still amid the storm like a pine tree rooted in snow and wind. That is strength. That is spiritual power. And that is the gift granted to those who understand that purification is not loss, but transformation, a sacred chance to shed the old shell, to be reborn, to return to the radiant and steadfast true self. Dear seekers, in ordinary times, cultivation requires long effort. But in an era of great purification, every breath, every thought, every deed becomes an act of cultivation, for nothing remains hidden and no one can escape the mirror of truth. Therefore, if you are blessed to live through the year 2025, consider it a sacred opportunity, a grand gathering of souls, a divine call from the universe itself. Not everyone is destined to hear it. Once in 1,000 years, and yet each person only lives one life. To meet such a year, yet spend it lost in illusion, worry, and noise, would that not be a tragic waste of a human lifetime? So awaken, look around, let go, return to your center. For amid the great purification, only those who sweep their hearts clean will walk forward unburdened. And perhaps, just perhaps, this year will mark not merely an ending, but the dawn of another 1,000-year cycle, the birth of a renewed humanity, a new life, and a new light. A light ignited not by chaos, but by the silent power of transformation itself. When we understand that the year 2025 is a sacred gateway, a cosmic portal that opens only once in a millennium, we are called to look deeper, to see the hidden patterns beneath the fabric of time. And among all those signs, none speak more clearly than numbers. For this universe, at its deepest core, is a grand symphony of mathematical frequencies. So let us step together into the next realm, where squares and cubes are not mere arithmetic, but the divine signatures of heaven and earth, encoded in sacred form. Dear friends, in the treasury of ancient wisdom, numbers were never mere instruments of calculation. They were the living keys that unlocked the mysteries of the cosmos. Numbers are alive. They are not rigid symbols, but sacred vibrations, the secret language through which heaven whispers to all creation. Each number holds a distinct frequency. Each sequence is a verse in the infinite sutra of existence. And the year 2025 is not just a chronological point. It is a living mantra, a sacred incantation woven with multi-layered meaning far beyond ordinary understanding. The ancients believed that when a year carries extraordinary numerical harmony, it is never by chance. It is a celestial sign, heralding a profound transformation within the grand pattern of heaven's design. To truly grasp the depth of the Great Purification, we must first decode the language of the numbers inscribed upon the year 2025. We must see it not merely as a date in history, but as a doorway into the pulse of the universe itself. Let us begin by observing that 2025 is the result of 45 multiplied by 45. A simple calculation on the surface, yet one vibrating with deep resonance. The number 45 is the sum of the sequence from 1 to 9. This, too, is no coincidence. In the ancient philosophies of the East, the numbers 1 through 9 represent the complete cycle of life. 1 is the origin, the beginning of creation. 9 is completion, the end of the journey. And in the wisdom of the way, every ending is also a beginning anew. When we add the numbers from 1 to 9, we arrive at 45. When we square 45, the result is 2025, a perfect square, a symbol of total closure, and the birth of a new cycle upon the foundation of deep understanding. The union between the numbers 1 through 9 and 45 carries yet another layer of meaning. It mirrors the soul's journey through 9 realms of existence. Each number is a gate, each step a lesson. Once the soul has walked through all 9 gates, it gathers the full wisdom of experience and returns to the center path. The number 45 is the meeting point of all that energy. And when this energy is squared, it explodes into manifestation as a sacred year, the year that the ancients proclaimed to be the once-in-a-thousand-year Great Purification. But that is not all. Let us take one step further. The year 2025 is also the sum of the cubes of the numbers from 1 to 9. If you take 1 cubed, add 2 cubed, then 3 cubed, continuing up to 9 cubed, the final total once again equals 2025. This cannot be mere coincidence. In numerology, the cube represents volume, the expansion of energy in 3 dimensions. If the square is the surface, the visible form, then the cube is depth, the unseen dimension of the spirit. Thus, this sacred year embodies both surface and depth, matter and spirit, form and essence, all converging in one point, 2025. It is a cosmic seal, the divine imprint marking an age of total transformation. And what is even more wondrous is this. Throughout human history, no other year unites these 2 rare mathematical structures, a perfect square and a perfect cubic sum, except this one. 2025 stands alone, like a note in heaven's grand symphony, a harmonic vibration echoing across millennia, announcing that the Great Purification has come. Once, humanity could only glimpse this cosmic alignment in the year 1936. And after that, we would have to wait until the year 3025, a full 1,000 years apart. Yet here we are, living right in the moment of convergence. Could this truly be coincidence? Or is it a deliberate design of the celestial order, a divine orchestration that placed our souls exactly here in this age of great purification to complete the lessons of karma and ascend to a higher state of being? Those with awakened vision will not call this random. Those with sincerity in their hearts will not miss this chance. For 1,000 years, bring only one such moment, and that one moment could be the eternal gateway. Standing before the threshold of year 2025, each soul is like a student at the grandest examination, one without classrooms or diplomas, but whose result determines the path for lifetimes to come. After this cycle, those who pass through the purification will become light as clouds, free and luminous. Those who remain bound by the residues of the old will repeat their ancient lessons in another form, another body. And the signs of this transformation are no longer written in scriptures alone, but revealed vividly in the present world. Look around. The pillars of value are trembling, faiths are collapsing, and what once seemed unshakable is now questioned and redefined. Humanity is awakening, bewildered, asking, what is truth? What is right? What is truly worth living for? These questions themselves are the first signs of an inner cleansing. When the soul feels the vibration of the cosmos, it can no longer pretend to sleep. It must rise. It must step out of its cocoon and gaze upon those seemingly cold numbers that, in truth, shimmer with light. If a number can hold the key to 1,000 years, then the year 2025 is the long-locked door. Now the key has appeared and the lock awaits. The only question left is, Who has the grace to open it? It cannot be opened by hand, but by heart, not through will, but through surrender. Those who cling too tightly to the past cannot unlock the future. Those bound by rigid beliefs cannot decipher the language of the universe. Yet do not be afraid. The cosmos forces no one. Purification is not punishment. The Great Purification is the light sweeping away darkness, a divine opportunity for every soul to look inward and realign with truth. Imagine a chamber sealed in darkness for 1,000 years. One day, the windows are thrown open, sunlight pours in, and the dust begins to dance and scatter. It is not the light that harms, but the light that reveals. The year 2025 is that beam of illumination. Those who awaken will not fear the truth. Those who pass through purification will no longer fear change. They will understand that just like squaring or cubing a number, each multiplication is an expansion, a step into depth and vastness. Life is a grand equation. Every year is a calculation. But only the year bearing the mark of wholeness and divine balance can merge its meaning with the soul itself. The year 2025 is a beautiful equation, but if no one solves it with consciousness, it remains just a passing number. So how do we solve this divine problem? No degrees are needed, no secret teachings, only sincerity, only the courage to ask, have I lived in truth? Have I forgiven fully? Have I loved wholeheartedly? How many illusions have I released? How much light have I kept alive within me? To answer these questions with honesty is to complete the soul's examination. And when each person finishes their inner test, the Great Purification will no longer be something to dread. It will become a cool stream washing away the dust of the road, a gentle breeze carrying the scent of spring across the fields of consciousness, a resonant bell ringing to announce a new dawn. One single year may not define eternity, yet a year that comes once in 1,000 can change everything. It is the axis of destiny, the bridge between the old and the new, the torch in the hand of those walking through the night, the sail waiting for the wind to cross the ocean of karma. And that wind, the wind of 2025, is the wind of clarity, the current of unseen truth, the whisper of the numbers that speak without words. When one understands the sacred pattern hidden within this year, all doubt dissolves. The Great Purification is no distant myth. It is already unfolding, softly calling, gently knocking on the door of every heart. All we must do is open, listen, and step through. When numbers begin to speak, we can hear the silent rhythm of the cosmos beating beneath the surface of form and time. Yet if numerology is the invisible map, then the ancient calendar is the visible compass through which the wise once measured heaven's timing. And indeed, the year 2025 holds not only the hidden code of numbers, but also the celestial signature of rare heavenly phenomena: 2 springs and a leap month. Let us move now into part 3, where we will decipher the messages of time itself, those written by heaven for this once-in-a-millennium purification. Through the flow of time, the lunar calendar is more than a way to count days. It is the clock of heaven and earth, the sacred text by which the ancients sought divine order. Each movement of the moon, each seasonal transition, carries a signal, a mysterious yet precise pulse from the unseen hand of creation. And in the year 2025, that celestial clock tolls in an unusual way. A year with 2 beginnings of spring, a year with a leap month, a year stretched into 384 days. This is no accident. It is a sacred message, a divine imprint from heaven itself for the great purification of the millennium. The beginning of spring, Lupsuan, is the first of the 24 solar terms in the lunar cycle. It marks the shift between winter's end and the birth of spring, when the sap rises from the earth, when life stirs silently beneath the soil. It is the breath of heaven entering the world. Yet in this extraordinary year, the beginning of spring happens twice. Once on the 4th day of the first month, and again on the 4th day of the next year. 2 gates of spring, 2 renewals of life's rhythm. Not redundancy, but completion. Not repetition, but reinforcement. As if the universe itself wishes to give humanity one more chance to awaken, one more breath to begin anew. Thus, in the sacred mathematics of heaven, nothing is random. Every repetition is a reminder. Every return is a grace. And the year 2025, the year of the Great Purification, is both a warning and a blessing, a closing and a beginning, the song of numbers echoing the will of the divine, It is as though heaven and earth wish to repeat their invitation, urging humankind to turn back, to awaken, and to receive one more chance for redemption. The Great Purification is not merely a cleansing of body and mind, it is a purification of time itself. When the heavens grant two beginnings of spring, it means the soul is given two openings, one gentle knock and one powerful awakening. Those who heard the first call yet hesitated will be given a second chance, but those who ignore both may have to wait another 1,000 years for such a moment to return. For this cycle does not come often. Heaven never forces, yet it never repeats in vain. Once destiny's door closes, it takes a full millennium to open again. And this extraordinary year bears yet another sign, a leap month. In the lunar calendar, a leap month serves to realign the lunar and solar cycles. But in the language of mysticism, the leap month is more than a technical correction. It is a sacred pocket of time, an extra space gifted by heaven, a pause for reflection, purification, and completion of what remains unfinished. In that rare year, the leap month falls in the sixth moon, the midpoint of the year, the heart of the cosmic circle, the stillness at the center of movement. It is a sacred interlude, a golden interval to look back upon the first half of one's journey, to correct, to heal, and to adjust the course for what lies ahead. A normal year holds 360 days, yet that year holds 384, 24 days more, as if the Creator wished to extend time itself for purification to unfold. It is as though heaven gives humanity extra moments to cleanse what clings, to release old habits buried deep within the roots of being. Like a wise physician who knows that a body full of toxins requires a longer treatment, or like a potter who senses the clay is still too damp and must be refined before the final fire. Those who understand heaven's rhythm will not rush, nor see this surplus of time as wasteful. They know it is a gift, a golden season of grace from the universe to the awakened. So, do we recognize ourselves as among the chosen? Do we see that we are living in a year unlike any other? A year where every season, every moon, every breath carries the vibration of transformation. The more we observe the world, the clearer this truth becomes. The earth spins faster, the climate shifts in chaos, the four seasons blur their boundaries, some lands burn endlessly, while others melt into tears of ice. The old calendars no longer align with human time. Yet the year of two springs, of a leap month, of extended days, it is heaven's way of restoring cosmic balance, a divine correction, a breath of renewal for the planet and for the human spirit alike. If the Great Purification is the storm that sweeps away all falsehood, then these celestial irregularities in the lunar calendar are its gentle signs. The first winds, the distant thunder, the silent letter sent from heaven. Those who can read this letter will begin to correct themselves. Those who grasp heaven's timing will step beyond their old patterns. For when heaven grants more time, is it not an invitation to deepen reflection? When we are blessed with two springs, is it not a call to be reborn twice within the same lifetime? What a rare and precious chance. This opportunity is not for the careless, nor for the sleeping. It is the reward of those who watch, who listen, who feel the pulse of the cosmos and understand that even the smallest irregularity in the calendar carries purpose. Nothing happens by accident, especially when such anomalies occur in the mysterious year of 2025. But how can we truly live through this extraordinary year? How do we honor the leap month, cherish the twin springs, and turn 384 days into a journey of awakening? The secret lies not in doing more, but in living deeper. Not in moving faster, but in walking truer. The leap month teaches us to pause. The double spring invites us to begin again. Together, they remind us to live in serenity, in alignment with heaven's flow, in inner contemplation, and in harmony with the Tao. For in Eastern wisdom, heavenly timing never stands alone. It moves hand in hand with Earth's favor and human harmony. Yet heaven's timing is always the first signal, the divine pulse that sets the course. If one fails to grasp the moment of heaven, even perfect conditions on earth and goodwill among people may not bear fruit. The year 2025 is such a heavenly moment, a vast opening of cosmic gates. Those who act in harmony with the times will see small deeds become great. Those who move against the current will see great plans dissolve into dust. The Great Purification is a natural law. No one can resist it, but no one is forced to suffer within it. One may be the cleansed, or one may be the self-cleansing. The difference lies in awareness. Do we recognize the signs? Do we see that heaven's time has arrived, that two springs are twin bells of awakening, that the leap month is sacred time to return inward, to reread the journey of the soul, to rewrite one's vow? Dear ones, to live in an ordinary year is to drift unconsciously, but to live in a year that comes once in 1,000 lifetimes and still remain indifferent, that is like walking past a treasure without ever bending down to pick it up. So pause, look to the sky, look to the calendar, look within. Recognize that this very moment is ripe for transformation. For the Great Purification does not begin with outer catastrophe, it begins with an inner stillness, a quiet knowing. When one realizes that they are living in a year unlike any other, and when they learn to cherish each of the 384 days, then every day becomes a seed, a spark, a stone in the foundation of the new self. The two springs are the twin calls. The leap month is the divine gift, and the extended year itself, the living proof that heaven has given us more time to awaken. So what are we waiting for? Let us step into the greatest purification of our lives, with full awareness, with deep gratitude for being alive in this very turning point of heaven and earth. Only those who recognize the rhythm of the cosmos can move at the right moment. Only those who act in harmony with the celestial order can pass through the Great Purification with serenity and grace. When the lunar calendar speaks and the cosmic cycles reveal themselves, with two springs and one leap month, we understand that this purification does not only unfold in the spiritual realm, but manifests through the energetic layers of the earth itself. At that moment, feng shui is no longer about measuring land or building houses, but becomes the art of perceiving how heaven and earth transform through symbols and flowing energies. The year 2025 shines beneath the sacred alignment of heavenly stems and earthly branches, revealing the image of the green serpent coiling within the fire of the blessed lamp. This divine symbol unveils a mysterious mechanism of purification. Let us then step into part 4 and decipher the essence of this sacred flame on the journey through the eternal fire of transformation. Beloved ones, when the cosmic clock opens its door and the lunar cycles whisper their call to awaken, feng shui becomes the sacred map of energy, a legacy from the ancients guiding humankind through the Great Purification unlike any other. The year 2025 is not merely a sacred turning point of the universe, but also a convergence of two powerful symbols, the green serpent and the blessed lamp fire. These two emblems are at once mystical and familiar, resonating in spirit, yet rooted in reality. Let us now journey into that world of cosmic feng shui, where light and soul intertwine, to understand why this year is a once in 5,000 years purification. The green serpent, emblem of the earthly branch Ti, the year of the snake, embodies wisdom, flexibility, and silent transformation. The serpent never flaunts itself. It sheds its skin quietly in the darkness, ready to rise as pure energy. That is the power of inner stillness, of silent yet resolute transformation. In the language of the cosmos, the serpent represents the return to essence, the turning inward before a great breakthrough. The year of the green serpent, born from the gentle energy of wood feeding the blazing fire, generates a current strong enough to melt all resistance and cleanse every residue of the past. This is the first sign of the Great Purification that comes only once in millennia. The blessed lamp fire, a humble flame glowing in the night, does not blind with brilliance like the sun, yet it warms and guides the traveler through the darkness. Blessed means happiness. Lamp symbolizes guidance. Fire embodies the living spirit. Together, they form the sacred light of inner faith and quiet hope. In the 5 elements, this represents illumination from within, the light of conscience and the flame of mindfulness held by one walking through the night. This image perfectly mirrors the Great Purification. Not destruction, but illumination from inside out. In the context of 2025, the blessed lamp fire reveals that light will not be overpowered by shadow. It is gentle yet enduring, capable of sweeping away the dust of unconsciousness. Such is the miracle of the Great Purification that comes once in 5 millennia. When the green serpent coils beside the blessed lamp fire, the universe sends forth 2 sacred messages: to move slowly but surely, and to act silently yet with dignity. Those who understand will live accordingly. Those who do not may dismiss it as myth. But this myth carries power to strip away illusion itself. When wood gives birth to fire, when the green serpent meets the lamp's flame, a stable new cycle of cleansing begins. Not loud, not hurried, but deeply transformative. In the realm of human experience, people will sense subtle vibrations within themselves and their surroundings throughout 2025. They will awaken. They will readjust their lives. They will purify their homes and their minds. The blessed lamp fire does not blaze wildly. It illuminates each person's unique path, helping them see where to pause, where to release, where to let go. That is the work of the greatest light of all, a purification not by destruction, but by awareness. Feng Shui, then, is not about colors or directions alone. It becomes the reflection of the soul upon the physical world. In this year of the green serpent and the blessed lamp fire, we are invited to look again, to review old habits, outdated thoughts, worn-out behaviors, and to recognize which parts of us must be left behind so that new life may rise. Those who consciously purify will know how to shape their surroundings with warmth and harmony. The awakened will arrange their lives not to chase, but to transform. Feng Shui becomes an art of communion with the universe, a silent yet mesmerizing purification. In some places that practice this sacred renewal, people choose earthy, soothing tones for their bedrooms, colors of calm and grounding, because the blessed lamp fire harmonizes with red, pink, and green, the hues of vitality and hope. They light soft yellow lamps, reminiscent of oil lanterns, to invite warmth. They bring in plants and natural materials to express the energy of wood, easing chaos and restoring balance. That is living Feng Shui, a living purification, not through struggle, but through serenity, through inner wholeness. Yet not everyone can do it, for true purification is sometimes painful. It is not the noise outside, but the trembling within. The green serpent does not roar, it coils. The lamp's flame does not shout, it shines. The brave are those who admit their need for cleansing. The wise are those who seize this once-in-a-thousand-years opportunity. They do not resist transformation. They flow with the rhythm of the cosmos. They do not cling to the old senses. They let the blessed lamp fire lead the way. They allow the green serpent to awaken their spirit. They surrender to the universe as it washes away all that is false, restoring the world and the soul to its purest truth. Therefore, when one realizes the profound Feng Shui alignment of this year, those who walk the spiritual path will not only prepare their mind for meditation, but also arrange their living spaces accordingly. Not for grandeur, but for purity. Not to display, but to cleanse. The green serpent and the blessed lamp fire are not idols to be worshipped. They are signals, compasses of light, the gentle winds that guide the spiritual vessel toward the island of awakening. A year that happens only once in 1,000 is not a myth. It is a celestial milestone, a sacred crossroad where heaven and earth meet, where the green serpent and the blessed lamp fire coexist in harmony. Those who understand will welcome it. Those who are indifferent may dismiss it. Yet the universe does not wait forever. This once-in-a-thousand-years energy will pass, and it will not return soon. So, do not let manipulation or disbelief make you miss this cosmic appointment. Do not let the mirror of your true nature be clouded by appearances. Let Feng Shui lead you into the great purification. Let the gentle flame of the blessed lamp fire illuminate your home. Let the green serpent whisper to awaken your soul. And when you can do that, you will not simply live through the year 2025. You will live through a millennium of true purification. My dear friends, when the heavens open their gate and the lunar rhythm calls for awakening, Feng Shui becomes the map of sacred energy left behind by the ancients, guiding humankind into a great purification beyond comparison. The year 2025 is not only a divine moment of the cosmos, but also a gathering point of powerful energy, where the two sacred emblems, the green serpent and the blessed lamp fire, converge. These two symbols are both mystical and familiar, both spiritual and practical, both ethereal and earthly. Let us dive deep into this world of celestial Feng Shui, where light meets soul, to understand why this is the once-in-a-millennium year of great purification. The green serpent, graceful and wise, represents the earthly branch of the snake. In the lunar zodiac, it embodies intelligence, adaptability, and the secret energy of transformation. The serpent never boasts. It sheds its skin in silence, renewing itself in the shadows, ready to rise into spirit. That is the energy of self-purification, quiet yet steadfast, hidden yet powerful. In the philosophy of the cosmos, the serpent signifies a return to essence, a journey back to the inner spirit before a great leap forward. The year of the green serpent is the year when gentle wood gives birth to blazing fire, generating a surge of energy that melts all barriers and cleanses every trace of the old. That is the very first sign of the Great Purification. The blessed lamp fire, the sacred flame that burns quietly through the long night, is not a blinding brilliance like the sun, but a humble glow that warms and guides the traveler. Blessed means happiness, lamp means illumination, and fire means the eternal flame of life. Together, they form a light of inner peace that radiates warmth, hope, and serenity. In the wisdom of the five elements, it represents light born from within, the faith that turns inward, the guiding lamp in the hand of one who walks through the darkness. This is the perfect image for the Great Purification, not destruction, but illumination from within. In the energy of 2025, the blessed lamp fire reveals that this is the year when light shall not be overshadowed by darkness. It is a soft light, but steady, strong enough to sweep away the dust of unconsciousness. That is the miracle of this once-in-a-thousand years purification. When the green serpent coils beside the blessed lamp fire, the universe delivers two sacred messages. First, to move slowly but surely. Second, to act quietly but with grace. Those who understand will walk this path. Those who do not may think it's only legend, yet the power of this legend is enough to strip away falsehood. When wood gives birth to fire, when the green serpent meets the lamp's flame, a steady new cycle of purification begins, not loud, not rushed, but deeply transformative. In reality, during the year 2025, people will begin to sense subtle shifts within themselves and in their surroundings. They will awaken, they will readjust their lives, they will cleanse their homes and their hearts. The blessed lamp fire does not burn wildly. It shines gently upon each soul, showing where to pause, where to release, and where to let go. That is the work of the greatest light of all, a purification that happens once in 1,000 years. Feng Shui, then, is not merely about choosing colors or directions, but about reflecting the soul through the physical world. In this year of the green serpent and the blessed lamp fire, humanity is invited to look again, to review old habits, outdated thoughts, and expired actions, to recognize what must be left behind so that the new may rise. Those who consciously purify will know how to create warm, harmonious spaces that radiate calm and spiritual energy. The awakened will arrange their lives not to chase endlessly, but to evolve with purpose. Feng Shui becomes an art of communion with the cosmos, the most silent yet powerful form of purification. In some places where this cleansing has begun, people decorate their rooms with gentle earth tones, colors that ground and soothe. Because the blessed lamp fire harmonizes beautifully with red, pink, and green, the colors of life and renewal. They light warm yellow lamps like ancient oil lanterns to invite a soft glow of peace. They add plants and natural materials to embody the energy of wood, dissolving chaos and aligning the heart. That is true living Feng Shui, the living application of the Great Purification. It does not rely on conflict, but on stillness. Not on outer show, but on inner fulfillment. Yet not everyone can walk this path, for purification can be painful. It is not the storm outside, but the trembling within. The green serpent does not roar, it coils. The lamp's flame does not shout, it shines. The brave are those who acknowledge their need for cleansing, and the wise are those who seize this once-in-a-thousand years moment. They do not resist the flow of transformation. They move with the rhythm of the universe. They do not cling to old illusions. They let the blessed lamp fire light their way. They let the green serpent awaken their spirit, and they allow the universe to wash away all that is false, until only truth, purity, and peace remain. They do not resist the flow of transformation. They move with the rhythm of the cosmos. They do not cling to outdated awareness. They let the blessed lamp fire illuminate their path. They let the green serpent awaken their soul. They allow the universe to wash away all that is illogical and impure. That is why, when they recognize a year with such profound Feng Shui alignment, true seekers do not only prepare for meditation, they prepare their living space as well. Not to make it splendid, but to make it pure, not to display, but to cleanse. The green serpent and the blessed lamp fire are not idols to be worshipped. They are signals, guiding lights, the soft winds that steer the spiritual vessel toward the island of awakening. A year that happens once in 1,000 is not a myth, but a celestial crossroad, the very point where heaven and earth intertwine, where both the green serpent and the blessed lamp fire manifest at the same time. To those who understand, this is a call to embrace. To those who remain indifferent, it may seem insignificant. Yet the universe does not wait forever. That once in 1,000 years energy will pass, and it will not return soon. So do not let manipulation or disbelief make you miss this divine appointment. Do not let the mirror of your true being be clouded by appearances. Let feng shui lead you into the great purification. Let the gentle flame of the blessed lamp fire cleanse your home. Let the green serpent remind your soul to awaken. And when you can do that, you will not simply live through the year 2025. You will live through 1,000 years of genuine purification. As the layers of destiny, cosmic timing, and feng shui unfold their secret patterns, one thing becomes clear. All signs are not separate, but harmoniously resonating together. They echo the same moment, the same calling, the same movement toward light. So behind all these phenomena, what mysterious essence is directing this transformation? In Part 6, we shall journey into the deepest realms of the universe, where the great purification of 1,000 years is no longer a metaphor, but a radiant reality shining upon every soul on its way home. Beloved seekers of the great purification, in the infinite depth of heaven and earth, the universe is never silent. It is a symphony of light and shadow, a ceaseless current of life. And in the year 2025, the year said to occur once in a millennium, that universe rings out a wordless bell, a silent invitation to the great purification that echoes within the heart of every being. The great purification does not unfold through roaring flames or grand upheaval, but through light, a subtle, penetrating light that shines into the hidden corners of consciousness. Like the first dawn breaking gently through the window at midnight, like a ray piercing the morning mist that blankets the earth. It is the light of awakening, the light of returning home. The mysteries of the cosmos are not incomprehensible enigmas. They are the deepest reality, patiently awaiting our recognition. When one opens the heart and quiets the mind, the universe speaks. From ancient times, the sages have known this truth. Therefore, they used symbols to awaken the essence within. The light of the cosmos is not distant. It is as near as your breath, as close as the beating of your heart. When the outer world becomes chaotic, the inner world must shine brighter. When material burdens grow heavy, the spirit must be cleansed. As the moment of 2025 arrives, the universe does not command, but invites. Those who answer will awaken. Those who ignore will continue to wander in unconscious survival. That is the greatest choice of the soul. We can witness this purifying light in simple, everyday acts. When someone quietly clears away clutter from their living space, or when one turns off a device late at night to listen to the stillness within. Some may shift their life's direction, from endless striving for wealth to living in kindness and service. Some may pause their hurried routines to write, to meditate, to breathe again. That is the cosmic light. Not dwelling in the distant heavens, but shining within the inner chamber of awareness. In the year of the great purification that happens once in 1,000 years, these gestures are not coincidences, but resonances. Responses to the cosmic call. Echoes from the depths of existence, the gentle warmth hidden within each silent heartbeat. The universe is one unified being, and each soul is a fragment of that great wholeness. When one soul is purified, the entire cosmos vibrates, like ripples spreading from a single pebble dropped into still water. The ancient masters all said, the universe purifies itself, and each of us is invited to take part. Our willingness to recognize and release what is meaningless, that is our way of joining the great purification, of affirming that we are truly alive in this once in 1,000 years moment. Just as the sun's light at dawn is softer than at noon, yet more sacred, so too, the great cosmic purification is not a blazing destruction, but a gentle illumination. It is the cool water rising from the depths of the earth, the unseen energy that nourishes the spirit. Only once every 5,000 years does the universe open its door so widely, inviting all beings to cleanse, to return, to be reborn anew. Thus, every day of the year 2025 is a fragment of light, a spark glowing in the dark, a flame that lengthens each breath, a gentle shimmer sewn into the heart to remind us that we are children of heaven and earth. We can cleanse, we can release, we can awaken. And it is precisely in these quiet, unpretentious acts that the Great Purification begins to unfold through our living spaces, through our thoughts, through each sacred breath. 1,000 years may pass before such a year returns, but the soul can begin anew in every instant. The light of the Great Purification does not move only through time, it moves through eternity. Those who awaken in this sacred year will realize that every gesture can be a beam of light, every glance can hold compassion, every step homeward can be a journey back to oneself. And that, indeed, is the true sign that the universe has spoken, and we have answered. We have received the light, and we are now living within the vast purification of 1,000 years. The Great Purification of cosmic light does not wait for perfection. It opens its door to anyone who holds even a single spark of flame within. For that small flame grows into the great light, and that great light is born from the seed of a sincere heart. So if you are reading these words right now, do not take them lightly, for you have just awakened. You have just stepped through the gateway that appears only once in 1,000 years. Let this light lead you deeper within. Let the Great Purification unfold, not somewhere distant, but in every breath you take, in every quiet thought that rises and fades, in every journey back to your true essence. In the vast silence of the universe, light is not merely light. It is a promise, a response, a quiet yet powerful movement. Anyone who has ever stood before the ocean at dawn has felt this truth in their heart. The soul softens, the heartbeat slows, and one can see the fragments of the old millennium being carried away by invisible waves. Then it becomes clear. The Great Purification is not some grand event waiting outside of us, but a sacred return inward. The key is not in thunderous miracles, but in the gentle light that humbly knocks on the hidden corners of the spirit. When the universe sends its light, it does not wait for you to turn around. It simply shines. Once every 5,000 years, the cosmos opens a path not meant for the ones who remain asleep, but for those souls brave enough to pause, to breathe again, to face their own limitations with honesty and courage, and to let go of pain without losing themselves. That is the Great Purification. In our daily lives, we can sense this light whenever we step away from glowing screens, from the flood of fast news, when we stop scrolling and simply sit still. A cup of tea, a book in hand, a single falling petal, and suddenly we feel lighter. In this year marked by such rare alignment, those small moments are no longer ordinary. They are quiet miracles, the pure streams flowing beneath the noisy city, the sacred punctuation marks of our inner cleansing. We also find this light in the wordless questions that visit us. Why do I live? Where does my love come from? What must I release to be free? These questions have no written answers. They come to knock at dawn, when we awaken softly, when we learn to listen in silence, when we begin to answer not with logic, but with sincerity. The true responses are never found on the loud platforms of social media, but appear when we choose to log off one quiet afternoon, when we pull the curtain aside to watch sunlight pour in, when we remember a time in our youth when letting go felt natural and easy. Thus, the Great Purification does not happen on a stage. It happens in a small room where someone sits quietly, writing from the depths of their heart. And some may ask, can we truly touch the light of the cosmos? Can we hold it in our hands? The answer is no. You cannot hold it, but you can feel it. When a person stops forcing themselves, when they decide not to speak another unnecessary word, when they no longer fight for one more possession, in that moment, the space around them expands. The heart becomes lighter. That is the light of the cosmos shining through, and the dust of ignorance begins to fall away. The Great Purification is exactly that, a falling away, not painful but tender, like the first leaves of spring returning to the soil. And as in nature after rain, renewal follows. Rain does not shout as it falls, but it washes away dryness, softens the ground, and prepares it for new life to bloom. The Great Purification is that gentle rain, not one that breaks stones, but one that seeps into the roots, awakening hidden colors and unseen beauty within. In this once-in-a-thousand-years year, You may feel as if your very skin is being watered, as if a flower is blooming inside your chest, as if your consciousness itself is unfolding. Thoughts once buried deep like old roots begin to rise again. Look around you. People everywhere are awakening, not because of some campaign or trend, but because the wave of the Great Purification has brushed through their souls. People are changing jobs because they long for a lighter life. People are moving homes because they crave green spaces. People are ending relationships not out of anger, but because they no longer wish to hurt or be hurt. Each of these choices is a ritual of purification. And if we look closely, we will see that we are all being summoned to cleanse ourselves, our homes, our communities, and even the very era we live in. The great cosmic purification is both light and stillness, a divine reminder that even amidst the dust of the human world, new life can still appear, that even in chaos, the rhythm of a peaceful heart can still be heard. Amidst judgment, one can still choose silence. Amidst fear, one can still choose faith. And in this once in 5,000 years moment, the universe calls us to rediscover the purest form of light, the light of love. Not dazzling, but clear. Not loud, but enduring. Not flamboyant, but slow and tender like moss. Yet strong enough to protect, to nourish, and to preserve the very roots of human compassion. With each conscious step we take, the great purification becomes more vivid, like a cool stream flowing through a desert, like a soft song echoing after a storm, like the gentle sunrise that begins a day full of promise. Spread that light through mindful breathing, through silence when silence is needed, through speaking love while there's still time, through stepping back when the heart has had enough, through letting go when release is right. These are the most sacred acts of humanity within this 1,000-year cleansing. Dear ones, these words are not written to inspire myth or blind belief, but to awaken the truth that already resides within you. Every ray of light is a testimony. Every quiet breath is a prayer. Every moment you choose to live from stillness is another step into the light. The great purification is never forced upon you. It is an invitation. It opens only when you walk into it with a peaceful heart and a sincere spirit. Let that light be your compass. Let the great purification begin from within you. And soon you will realize this once in 1,000 years moment is not just a date on the calendar, but a sacred realm where the soul is bathed, renewed, and taught once again how to love. When the light of the universe has illuminated every corner of the soul, when the great purification has become a living truth through every breath and heartbeat, one question inevitably arises: how can we bring this into our daily lives? Not in sacred scriptures, not in distant monasteries, but right within our own small homes, in the workplace, in the heart of the city, and in the ordinary rhythm of each day. So now, welcome to part 7, where we will reflect and practice how to purify both the spirit and the environment, so that the light of this once in 5,000 year moment does not drift away like smoke, but becomes a living way of being, a conscious state carried through every second of our lives. Dear friends, in modern life, we often mistake a year as merely a measure of passing time. Yet in this sacred year, marked by the great purification that happens once in 5,000 years, each day can be a moment of awakening, a small turning point of transformation. The path of living consciously does not rest upon lofty ideals. It begins with the simple steps we take each day: our homes, our rooms, our daily habits, our breaths, and our thoughts. Let purification not remain a concept, but become a way of life. It begins with the environment that surrounds you: your room, your desk, your meditation corner, your bedroom. When the space is cluttered, when the eyes are surrounded by excess, the mind cannot rest. Studies have shown that cleaning is not merely a physical act. It is a form of therapy, a process of reclaiming control, a sacred ritual of internal purification. A clean space invites a calm heart. When the home is still, the soul can finally listen. Many people have shared that simply throwing away one old paper or letting go of one unnecessary object changed their entire mood. They suddenly felt lighter, could breathe again. And that, too, is a miracle of the great purification, unfolding quietly in everyday life. In the act of arranging a shelf, someone found themselves sorting through old books, grouping them by themes, and rediscovering forgotten memories. As they looked back, they remembered what they once longed for, and in that silence, they began to rewrite what was left unfinished. That was no longer mere tidying, it was soul restoration, a gentle correction of one's inner compass, a way to bring the great purification into lived reality. And not only within four walls, step outside, breathe in the natural air. You don't have to go far. Even the trees and the nearby park can be sacred grounds for purification, quiet yet powerful. Perhaps you've heard of forest bathing. It's not about escaping into philosophy, but simply walking slowly, listening to the rustle of leaves and inhaling the scent of earth after rain. That feeling is nature's way of calling you back to the rhythm of the cosmos. Modern science has confirmed it. Just 20 or 30 minutes of connection with nature can reduce stress, improve sleep, and strengthen the immune system. That is the great purification designed by the universe itself for souls caught in the machinery of this age. And if you don't have a forest, one houseplant, a vase of flowers, or a small patch of green by the window can already help. Research shows that indoor plants improve mood, strengthen emotional connection to the environment, and enhance one's sense of safety. Some people light a soft golden lamp beside a green plant. They call it a sunrise inside the house, a small wind that brushes through the heart. And that too is purification, the universe gently inviting you to awaken. Then comes the breath. Sit quietly in meditation for 5 minutes, close your eyes, and simply feel each breath touch your skin. Don't think, don't strive, just be here, now. When your chest opens like a flower, when each breath grows deeper and more natural, that is purification of the spirit. It softens anxiety, dissolves sorrow. Modern psychology has solemnly confirmed that meditation reduces stress, enhances memory, and strengthens emotional control. It is the great purification that arises not from ritual, but from the essence of being. When your space is peaceful, when nature becomes your companion, when your breath is calm, there is one more step: gratitude and contentment. One person once shared, amid the rush of the year, they turned off the internet for a single evening, sat beside a pot of tea, and sent a few heartfelt messages to loved ones. They felt alive again. In that simple act, the quiet seeds of connection began to bloom. The great purification of a once-in-5,000-year cycle merging beautifully with the ordinary longing of a human heart to love and be loved. It was proof that the universe never commands. It invites us gently to return home. And not only the self, but the environment too, is being invited to purify. People begin by cleaning the path before their door, replacing cold concrete with small stones, setting a tiny plant by the balcony. Such simple acts rekindle the connection between human and earth, soothing the tired mind after a long day in the concrete city. That, too, is the great purification made manifest, letting green roots breathe through stone and steel, letting life re-enter the heart of the metropolis. One family, aware of the sacredness of living in this once-in-5,000-year moment, created a small family ritual they called the Day of Returning. They paused their busyness, restored affection, and renewed silence, a humble ceremony of reconnection. The same spirit can flow into the workplace. A desk cleared of meaningless papers, a framed family photo, a few cords untangled. These are small gestures of clarity. When the workspace is neat, people work differently, not from pressure, but from care. Not chasing deadlines, but nurturing like tending a field. Not seeing coworkers as competition, but as fellow souls. That is the great purification for the modern world, a living proof that once in 5,000 years is not merely a number, but a way of being. Every act of mindfulness, every breath, every moment of stillness is a quiet ripple of the great purification unfolding through us. And from these small practices, the message becomes clear. Purification is not grand, it is gentle. Not a storm, but a return. When one who walks the path of wisdom truly understands this truth, they no longer glorify luxury, but instead cherish simplicity. They do not chase grand experiences, for they have learned to find greatness in the smallest moments. Every gentle step of sweeping the floor, every little plant nurtured in the corner of a room becomes an offering to a sacred moment. A moment when the universe opens its gate in this once in 5,000 years great purification. Thus, the practice in daily life is not an ending, but the greatest connection of all. For only by entering the world, by truly living among people, work, and nature, can we see that the great purification is not in the heavens, but rests quietly within our own hands. It exists in the smallest actions, in every breath, in the light filtering through the window, in the call of a bird at dusk. If we learn to see with a peaceful heart, the Great Purification continues to whisper, and we will know how to answer. When one begins to see the light of this Great Purification in each breath of daily life, when the home has been cleansed, the mind quieted, and the heart opened to nature, a deeper question will naturally arise. Have our ancestors too, long ago, walked through times of great transformation like this? Could it be that in the vast treasury of ancient wisdom, there already lie teachings prepared for this very era? The era of the Great Purification that comes once in 5,000 years. Let us then step into part 8 to listen to the echoes of antiquity, to learn from the insights of the wise ones before us, and to see that true wisdom has never departed from the rhythm of daily life. Dear friends, when the vast journey of modern living meets again with silence, a voice arises from the depths of time. Not a loud or lofty voice, but one gentle and calm like an autumn breeze. It is the voice of our ancestors, those who left not myths, but light. A light to guide those crossing the bridge of this once in 5,000 years Great Purification. The ancients taught that heaven and earth are not merely dimensions of space, they are a living whole. The way is the path by which the universe finds its harmony. When a soul awakens amid the Great Purification, they are like a child returning to the right path, unshaken, unafraid, because they have seen the light dancing in every breath, in every feeling, in every beat of existence. They taught us to live close to nature, for in that closeness, the spirit is purified. One does not need to flee to distant mountains. Merely standing by a small stream, feeling the cool water, listening to the flow of life. Even that is enough to realize that the universe is not far away, but is a mother calling her child home. To return to the true path, to lighten the heart, and to brighten the eyes. Such is the simple yet profound method passed down through the ancient wisdom traditions. In truth, many who live near hills and forests have shared that just one deep breath taken among pine trees at dawn feels like breaking free from invisible chains. That, too, is the great purification of the cosmos. No rituals needed, only presence. The wise ones also taught the art of cleansing the heart with sacred fire and gentle incense, not for its fragrance, but for its stillness. One soft stick of incense, subtle and quiet, can slow our steps. Standing before it with eyes closed, breathing deeply, one remembers the timeless river of life flowing within. To the ancients, incense was not merely a scent, but a rhythm of space and time, a silent meditation that returns all energy to the center of the heart. Those who have ever lit incense in moments of sorrow often describe how, for a brief instant, their hearts felt washed clean, their bodies warmed by invisible grace. That is the civilized reflection of this once in 5,000 years Great Purification. Modern minds often believe philosophy is something lofty and abstract, yet the ancients taught that true philosophy is a slow way of living. It is the act of planting a tree, not to harvest its fruit, but to witness the miracle of life itself, to see tender new leaves emerge, to watch the wind pass through the branches. Those who plant without haste can see the smile of the universe in every leaf. They can feel the pulse of the earth beneath their feet. They know they are connected, root to root, life to life. That is philosophy without words. That is the Great Purification, revealed through every leaf, every root, every warm breath of soil. The wise did not confine wisdom within books. They taught that how we treat others is a sacred practice, a simple greeting, a kind smile, a look of genuine care. Through such moments, others can feel the warmth of awakening and are silently guided back to themselves. There was once a story of someone who had been so sad they had not spoken for a week. One day, as they passed by, a friend simply asked, "Why don't you smile these days?" In that moment, they broke into tears and were healed. That was not a miracle, but the subtle expression of the Great Purification, a timely resonance leaving no words, only light. Learning, the ancients said, is not about adding more, but about letting go. When we can release, we free the soul from its chains. The more we cling, the more our spirit strains and tires. One person once decided to let go of an old, forceful habit and replace it with quiet breathing. They said, "I feel lighter now. I see more clearly. I feel as if the universe is inviting me to live more simply." That, too, is the living proof of the great purification unfolding in ordinary life. Do not accumulate for the sake of having more. Accumulate for the sake of peace. The old teachings remind us, when you can stay calm at the height of life's storm, that is when purification is most needed. Those who can stand when others collapse, those who can hear their own breath amid chaos, they are already awake. In this sacred year that comes once in 5,000, many are learning to begin again, to rise from stillness. Some say that standing firm amidst turmoil, still breathing, still hearing the heartbeat, is already victory. The great purification, then, is not a distant myth. It is happening quietly within their hearts, requiring no miracles, only awakening. The ancients advised those who live near rivers to place their hands into the flowing water, to feel its coldness, to feel its movement, to toss in a small stone and listen to the echo ripple. This was not recreation, but a way to summon life energy. One person from a mountain village shared that, at the beginning of spring, they placed their hands into the stream and felt as if they had received a blessing. From that day, their heart felt calm, no longer in haste, for when the heart slows, the universe slows with it. That is the great purification flowing through the body. Ancient wisdom is not distant. It is as near as the breath, as natural as the wind. It is not complicated, yet deeply transformative. It does not teach how to conquer others, but how to keep the heart steady when conflict arises. And in this once in 5,000 years moment, those ancient words, quiet, steady, and eternal, are what we need more than ever. They did not use golden bells to resist the impact of the world, but chose simplicity, a breath, a drop of water, the soft sound of a flowing stream, to allow the great purification to unfold quietly, gently, like a dewdrop rising from a leaf in silent purity and rebirth. The ancient sages said, the most beautiful moment of all is the day without a name, a day not bound by the calendar, a mind not chained by the clock. Anyone who has lived such a day knows that every second becomes light, yet full. To live even one such day in a year that happens once in 1,000 years, how miraculous it is. The great purification is not found somewhere far away, but right within each day that has no name. Above all, ancient wisdom teaches us to return to gratitude. When we feel grateful for the universe allowing us to live in a year like this, a year that happens once in 1,000 years, the heart turns into a temple of stillness. Every small thing comes alive. Every small feeling becomes radiant. When we are grateful for the morning light shining through the window, when we are grateful for each breath gently reminding the soul to awaken, when we are grateful for the song of hometown birds echoing through city streets, even with sadness, there is tenderness. That is the most beautiful purification, a life without days, overflowing with light. It is the ancient wisdom calling us home, and we are, quietly, returning. After contemplating the teachings of the ancients, we begin to understand that the great purification is not a fleeting event, but a sacred cycle that has repeated throughout human history. Though its forms may differ, its essence remains the same: transformation, cleansing, and rebirth. So now let us enter part 9, where we look at the year that happens once in 1,000 years, our present, and compare it to the great purifying years of the past. From there, we may see the profound rhythm that the universe has designed for the evolution of humankind. Dear ones with kindred hearts, when we recognize the rhythm of the cosmos striking softly upon each horizon, we understand that it is not only the year 2025 that carries the great purification. In earlier ages, humanity had already crossed similar turning points, when great winds of heaven and earth gently steered us onto new paths. Those years of purification were different in form, but shared a single heartbeat, the rhythm of renewal. Sometimes it came as an ending that healed into a beginning. Sometimes it arrived through pain that gave birth to rebirth. And we long to look back, to understand more deeply the path we walk today, especially as we live within a year that comes once in 1,000 years. 1,000 years ago, humanity faced a devastating plague that shook the world. And those who survived saw it as a test for the spirit. They rebuilt their communities. They healed wounds, both personal and collective. The dry fields that once turned to dust began to turn green again, because people learned to love one another more deeply. Those years were great purification, not through fire or thunder, but through the quiet water seeping back into the earth, awakening seeds of renewal. From that, we see that purification does not always come from the outside world, but from the inner awakening of every soul. There were also years of great wars when nations fell to ashes. Yet from the ruins, those who survived did not flee. They began again. They rebuilt schools, relit the lamps, and let children's laughter rise again. That was the sound of the Great Purification echoing amidst destruction. They remembered impermanence and did not let weapons extinguish love. They chose renewal, and that light of renewal lasted longer than the first fragile days of peace. Once again, we see that every year of purification may come as an outer storm, but the truest answer lies in the rebirth of the heart. There were also years of collective labor, when people worked side by side to rebuild homes, roads, and schools, repairing the fractures in society that had long been hidden. Communities gave their time and strength to restore the space they lived in. That steady, enduring effort did not drag people down. It lifted them back toward purpose. That, too, is the Great Purification. Another testament that a year that happens once in 1,000 years is not merely a date in time, but a sacred doorway that reopens through the ages. Every opening is a reminder of humanity's power to renew itself. History also tells of years when climate shifts forced great changes in human life. When lands became unlivable, people were compelled to migrate, to adapt, to let go. Those years were not disasters. They were purifications of the collective, moments of choice between holding on or moving forward. That was not collapse, but transformation. And later, when the earth healed, people lived again with gratitude. So it is now, in this year marked as once in 1,000 years, we are being called to release old habits that no longer serve and to sow new seeds more in harmony with the times. History has also seen years when cultures flourished, were forgotten, and then awakened centuries later to revive their traditions and restore their spirit. That, too, was a purification, a cleansing of a people's soul. Today, our society faces a crisis of values. Many are weary, and many others are returning to their roots. They seek ancient books, they turn to meditation. They seek human connection that heals rather than consumes. They do not chase the noise, they choose the quiet that transforms. That is the thread linking all purifying years of the past to this one rare year we live in now. Yet history is not only made of grand upheavals. Sometimes it is a single year when nature trembles, a storm, a flood, and people realize how small human power truly is. They gather again, rebuild homes, cook shared meals, and care for one another. A family begins, then a village follows, until a wave of healing spreads wide. Such a year of purification may not roar with drama. It may arrive softly, silently, enough to awaken our true essence. Just like now, we do not need miracles. Only a cup of tea in the golden light of afternoon, enough to awaken the heart. If we were to trace them, the first year erased old systems through plague. The second year shattered cities through war. The third year brought migrations through the turning of climate, each one a chapter of the Great Purification that reminds us, rebirth always begins within. The fourth year was when a once prosperous culture faded into oblivion, only to be reborn from the ashes. The fifth year was when small natural disasters stirred the collective consciousness awake. Each of these years represented a different form of the Great Purification, yet they all shared the same essence, moments when humanity endured, released, and rose once more in quiet resilience. Compared to the year 2025, we are now living in a time when all dimensions seem to converge. Rare alignments of cosmic rhythm, sacred numerology, and celestial timing. It is the pulse of the entire universe, the harmony of 1,000 years and countless lifetimes. Such a convergence will never repeat in the same way, but it will resonate across ages. And we have been invited to take part in it. Perhaps the purifying years in history were spiritual tests set by the universe for the collective soul. And this present year is the final test of the 1,000-year cycle, a sacred chance to begin anew, a divine examination without a name. Those who truly see this year do not merely survive, they awaken to the art of living. Those who rise with the light within themselves are recreating the universe itself. They do not wait for miracles to descend from above, for the light has already begun to bloom inside them. Not everyone can recall or has lived through the great purifying years of history. But we were born in this very year, with the destiny to witness it. And if we choose, we can bridge past and present, ensuring that this once-in-a-thousand-year cycle does not pass in vain, but becomes a convergence point, a turning point, a doorway that leads us back to ourselves. This is the Great Purification intertwined with history, the reopening of an ancient path that we now bravely step across. Just as a river forever seeks the sea, history too is always seeking completion. Each act of purification adds another layer to that eternal flow. And in this rare moment of time, we are the ones creating the vortex, pulling the waters back to their sacred source. When we compare this year to the purifying years that came before, we see the same divine pattern. When the old collapses, when rot spreads too deep, when the roots must be unearthed, history opens a year for purification. The universe does not force, it signals. Through numbers, seasons, and symbols, it whispers. And if we are awake enough, we will see, and we will step through. The great purification that happens once in 1,000 years cannot be measured by wealth or ruled by politics. It can only be lived through the awakening of the inner self. Through millennia, only this has endured. The inner light endures. So if we can live through this year, amid the chaos and the noise, yet still keep a breath of love, if we can stay calm in the storm yet still smile, then we have already transcended several cycles of purification in history. We have extended this once-in-a-thousand-year rhythm into the pulse of the way, the sacred rhythm that the universe beats into the human heart. That, indeed, is the most beautiful purification. After comparing the great transformations of history to this rare moment we are living now, it becomes clear. The Great Purification has never been an external event. It has always been an inner calling, a voice that awakens the soul of each person. And if we can receive that light, we do not merely endure the test, we become creators of the future. Now, as we step into the final part, let us contemplate the greatest essence that this journey has revealed: self-purification as the opening of a new realm of life. A realm where every step glows with light, where the future is no longer a distant dream, but a promise written through the awakened life of today. Beloved ones, we have walked through 10 parts of this sacred journey, from the idea of a once-in-a-thousand-year great purification, through the wisdom of cosmic alignment, the laws of nature, the illumination of ancient teachings, and the reflections on past cycles of cleansing. Together, they have awakened us to the spiritual soil from which every soul draws its strength, the inner power of self-purification that opens a luminous future. Imagine, if you will, a crystal, clear, radiant, pure, where light from all directions converges. That is the essence of the Great Purification. Every layer of historical sediment, every shadow of consciousness has been cleansed, allowing the inner brilliance to shine forth once more. Whoever lives through this once-in-a-thousand-year moment, if they can turn inward, will see themselves as that crystal, not grand, not mighty, but luminous, filled with gentle radiance. Self-purification is not a loud act. It is a quiet release, like a speck of dust drifting off the petal of a flower. It is the awareness of the burdens that no longer make us shine. It is the moment we pause amid the noise of life and ask, does what I hold still make my heart breathe freely? And if not, can I let it go, softly, without pain? For the Great Purification does not destroy, it only removes the old layers to reveal life anew. In truth, many have shared that in the midst of the year 2025, they suddenly realized they had been chasing goals that belonged to others. So they paused. They took a few days off. They changed their way of living. They did nothing grand. They simply rested in peace. And in that stillness, they felt lighter, brighter, more alive. That is self-purification, the crystallization of light opening toward the future. For the future is not something that lies ahead. It is what we are shaping now, through clear hearts, luminous actions, and radiant living. The future is no longer far away. It is held within each breath, each moment. If we live one day in weariness, our future will grow weary too. But if we live one day in light, the universe itself shines through us. If we live each day in mindfulness, the future will shine brightly. That is why the Great Purification of 1,000 years is not meant to change the world, but to transform the way we see the world and the way we see ourselves. When the soul begins to shine, the world naturally becomes radiant, and that is how the future is truly created. Some people begin their mornings by awakening their inner light with a simple whisper to themselves. Today, I choose to shine. I choose to walk lightly. I choose to love myself more. I choose to live simply and consciously. And they discover that life begins to flow differently. Work no longer feels burdensome, relationships lose their heaviness, and the future is no longer a race but a gentle path lined with wildflowers and touched by soft sunlight. That is when self-purification becomes a way of life, when the inner light becomes the compass, and when the future is no longer something far away, but the very breath of clarity we take in this moment. If you ask the universe how it proves this truth, the answer is, it does not prove anything. It simply opens a doorway, marked by a year that bears the sign of completion, a once-in-a-millennium convergence. It manifests through rare cosmic rhythms, through symbols like the green serpent and sacred fire of blessing, through special numbers, through the harmony of nature, through peaceful surroundings, through gratitude, through the stillness of breath. And as we walk through this luminous corridor, if our hearts are awake, we will see that the future is already unfolding before us. The future waits only for us to step into it with clarity and light. I once heard a saying, a person who purifies themselves from within is like a still lake, silent, yet clear enough for the stars to reflect upon. The water is so transparent that one can see their own reflection in the starlight. The future, in that moment, doesn't need to be predicted. It simply reveals itself. When the soul becomes serene, the reflection of destiny becomes pure, and the person who steps forward does so without fear. This is the essence of the Great Purification, a once-in-a-thousand-year awakening. We are living through a sacred year, though not everyone is awake enough to listen. Only those who choose stillness can truly hear it. Those who dare to let go of noise, who look up to the heavens to remember where they are, and who look inward to remember who they are. That is the heart of self-purification, the invisible thread connecting humanity with the cosmos. From that connection, the future ceases to be a dream and becomes a reality, written by enlightened actions, born from luminous souls. Look around. Those who can let go, who allow their hearts to shine, become beacons for their families, for their communities, for their culture. They do not make grand gestures, but they live quietly radiant lives. Some teach their children by simply saying, "Your parents are shining, so you can see the path." Others walk beside friends with calm presence, bringing peace into every space they enter. These are the signs of those who are self-purifying, the ones opening the gates of the future. They plant seeds of light that the universe will one day grow into vast forests. Centuries from now, people will look back and not call this the year of chaos, but rather the year humanity awakened, the year that opened a new cycle of civilization. It will be remembered as the year light emerged from the shadows, when humanity rediscovered its brilliance and awakened at the perfect time. The Great Purification of 1,000 years is not a myth. It is the sacred promise of the universe, a promise we can receive with a single conscious breath, a single act of release, a single kind gesture, a quiet moment of stillness, a whisper of gratitude. And when we can do that, the future has already arrived. It waits for our next step, and that step is not somewhere far away, but right beneath our feet, here and now. Dear listeners, if you are hearing these words, perhaps you are already awake, and the radiant future is waiting to walk beside you. Let the light flow through you. Let your purified heart become a window through which the light of the cosmos shines into everyday life. And let that light fill the future, for it begins in your heart, here, in this sacred year of the Great Purification, a once-in-a-thousand-year awakening. Thank you for journeying through this profound and wondrous reflection. In an age of endless change, listening to ancient wisdom is how we return to the source of light, how we cleanse, how we awaken, and how we begin again. May the divine light of the universe illuminate each of your steps. May every transformation come to you with gentleness. May the seed of peace blossom in every word you speak, every thought you hold, and every act you perform. If this message has touched your heart, please like the video, share your reflections in the comments, and subscribe to the Great Purification to continue walking the path of awakening and inner cultivation. May you live with serenity, wisdom, and steadfast grace as you walk through this once-in-a-thousand-year turning of time.